Alright, what is up guys? The Strong Boys 19 here. So, this is going to be stream number 2, and let's see what this stream is going to be like. And I can already see one like from somebody. I don't know who clicked it, but that one like was shown around like 20 minutes before I started the stream. So, let's just hope that this one is going to be turning out very nicely like the live stream, because last time was very, very good. Receiving comments from people from Tyler to people like Be Mindful and Wise, etc. So let's just see how this one is going to turn out to be. What have I been doing? Well, since that I have been in isolation like thousands of people already, it has been not very difficult, and I still feel really, really sorry about the people that are struggling to cope with it because of what's been happening lately. I'm not going to go into it so much because of all of the madness from the public and panic buying and all of this atrocious stuff that we keep seeing. But for me, the isolation and the family too of mine has been going really well. For me, I've been playing guitar a lot, playing songs, learning new stuff, and I decided to keep that going since the band that I am in had to postpone a lot of gigs until we can perform again. So for the records, I've gone back to playing records from different bands like Yes and Genesis. I had actually played so much Genesis that it was just a crazy obsession of mine, and it feels great and a fun time to revisit bands that I had not listened to for an extremely long time. And Yes, as well, being another one of my favourite progressive rock bands of all time. And a few hours ago and yesterday, actually, I've been playing records from Mr. Miles Davis. So before I reviewed Bitches Brew, I had played this in prep for that review. By the way, if you have not seen my Classic Albums Revisited episode on my review on this album, check it out. I still absolutely adore this album immensely. For the other Miles albums, I've played these two classic albums of Agharta and Pangaea. Two completely fun, funky, and a big wild of these jams from these two. This is a remaster from Music on Vinyl from 2015, and this is the 2011 Four Men with Beards remaster. I absolutely adore Miles, and I've played the live album that was previously unreleased on this deluxe edition of Tutu, which is very, very overlooked. And I was playing the bonus record that was previously unreleased live at the Nice Festival in France, 1986. And I still think this is one of the best albums that he had ever done. This was when he was really into music from Prince, and his music on here is like really driven on these synthesizers to electronic drums and playing this kind of music with his trumpet. Love the minimalism of these brief photos of him. Dark Magus, another fantastic live album. I still really am not a fan of this cover, but the playing, just like Pangaea and Agharta, the playing on some of these performances on this live album were just brilliant. And another record, On the Corner, very challenging for some, one of the funkiest albums. that's becoming, a big important release on hip hop artists. Again, this is the Music on Vinyl remaster, and this is just as fantastic. One of my big favorite Miles Davis albums, if I can talk right. And another record that's different to Miles, I played um, this album, Depeche Mode's Violator, which turned 30 years old recently. And what is so annoying about myself is that I buy records and I haven't played them until a few years later. That's what happened when I decided to play this album. I couldn't believe how amazing this is. I bought this because Depeche Mode at this time were inspired by the music from Kraftwerk's Electric Cafe, and I absolutely love that underrated classic. I know it's very simplistic and not as complex as the previous few albums from their discography, but the inspiration for Electric Cafe on some of these tracks are on this album. I really like Depeche Mode too, so I'm going to be diving into more of their albums. John Daly covers. I've seen your comments, and sorry for not reading them earlier. Are there any plans to do any Queen related videos in the near future? Do you have any Queen vinyls or CDs? Um, I do really like the rockier side of Queen. For the pop era, there are some moments that I'm like on the fence with it, but I do highly respect the band. My favorite Queen album, I think, ever is possibly Sheer Heart Attack. I do have some Queen on vinyl, and the records are back there. But the records of Queen that I've got are Sheer Heart Attack, A Night at the Opera, The Works, The Miracle, and A Kind of Magic. I don't have any Queen on CD, but I would like to buy as many Queen albums as I can. For me, they are one of those bands that I will always fondly remember being a greatest hits band, unfortunately, because they have made some other songs that are not the singles that are very great songs. But I think Queen are one of those bands that I still really enjoy. They are not one of those bands that I listen to very, very often. So, yeah, thank you very much for that question. If you have anything to say, anything new to add to this chat, please do. And there's 2 likes so far, and I'm going to be trying my best not to make this stream go really awkwardly, like the first half an hour from the previous first stream of this year, because I was really trying to focus on what I was going to say, and at some points I just repeat myself and stutter, etc. I'm not going to go back at that video, but that is not until the great comments from some of you guys decide to keep sending later on. So, a few people still watching. So, to those people that are watching, let me know if there are any lagging issues or connection issues, or is everything going really smoothly? Because I would like to keep this stream going with the best connection that I could, really try and make this stream turn out, very greatly. Drinking summer fruits. And also share this stream around to anybody that is interested in music, and we can talk about a lot of things in music because that is what my channel is all about. We can share anything from genres to bands, and just like this box says, let's all hang out and chill, just like the last one. For the other records that I am going to play, I'm going to continue listening to the second half of the unreleased live album that's on the 2-2 Miles Davis remaster that I've shown you a few minutes ago. But I think after that, I'm going to be playing the Mahavishnu Orchestra, Visions of the Emerald Beyond, which is one of my favourite albums from this band. I've just been in the mood to revisit some more of these very joyous, uplifting, and, exciting eras of music, because that's what this world really needs, some more positivity. And it's very hard for a lot of people lately because of this coronavirus and the isolation. And I'm not going to repeat myself again, but be sure to try and remain as positive and happy as you really can. We can get through this. It is okay to feel stressed or negative, but if you do something that totally erases those feelings, you are going to be in a much better place. So, this is another Miles Davis album that I adore. It was my third favourite, but it's my second favourite since about 2 years from now. In a Silent Way, I gotta play this. Kind of Blue was my second favourite, but this is now my second. Most of these Miles albums that I own are these remasters. This one and Bitches Brew are from the Legacy editions, Legacy remasters that are absolutely beautiful. Still adore the Electric Period from Miles. I'm really interested as well to dive into the not well known era from his career on the Prestige career that he did at the time before he signed to Columbia Records. So, yeah, I think I've been talking enough, so, well, I would like to continue, but it'll be great if any of you guys want to type anything in the live chat, and we can share anything together. So, do some typing, guys. Also, I'm not going to be putting on any records in the background because I don't want to hear, some of these annoying laptop noises, and that I don't want the stream to get copyrighted. So that's two things that I really don't want to hear. I know there are some of these laptop noises even without music on this laptop, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately. Be mindful and wise. Hello there, mate. Kind of Blue was my introduction to Miles, just like me. Then I gave In a Silent Way a listen, and it blew my mind. So beautiful and well crafted. Exactly that. When I had played Kind of Blue, which I've got remastered vinyl for it as well, if I can get it out. Here it is on CD. Kind of Blue was the turning point for me that I was really interested to dive into the very soft, minimal, and a different form of expression of music. And Kind of Blue was perfect for that. I have various Miles albums on CD, but I'm not going to always go on about Miles because this stream is all open to anything that we are going to share together. But let me get Kind of Blue out. See if it's here. Yep. Here it is. This is the remaster from Columbia from 2015. I used to also jam and improvise my guitar playing to that album, and especially with In a Silent Way. John McLaughlin's guitar work on in a Silent Way is really one of my big favourites. And I said on some of the lead playing that he did on Bitches Brew can be quite sloppy, but I still loved his solos on that album. But I think this is really where some of his playing shines. So I could go on about this. In a Silent Way, one of the most beautiful albums you'll ever hear. Even if you don't like jazz, this is dark perfection. It's dark and so atmospheric, especially on the swirling, colourful playing on the electric piano from Herbie Hancock. I need to collect a lot more of his albums, Herbie Hancock. I adore Crossings. That's my favourite Hancock album so far. Anyway, Life Goes On 1. Did you hear the new song from Deep Purple called Throw My Bones? I have not. I really like Deep Purple. I had made a video a few years ago that is related to Deep Purple about Ian Pace's time that he had to take some time off from touring for the first time in throughout his career a few years ago. But I am going to be checking that out. But I have not played a lot of Deep Purple's stuff a lot. You can't go wrong with Made in Japan though, because Made in Japan is still my second favourite live album of all time. The first one being Live at Leeds by The Who. And this is just, to me, one of the most perfect, raw, and a fun ride of a rocking album. And I am a huge fan of The Who still. Speaking of The Who, I think their new album, their self-titled album from 2019, I think it is really good. I know some people can be dismissive about it, but I think that I would pick that album, way more than Face Dancers and Endless Wire. To me, The Who have not made a bad album. I do like It's Hard, but there are some generic stuff on there. And same goes with Face Dancers, but I think the latest Who album is their best album since, a very long time. But Deep Purple, now that I'm going to go back on track, is a fantastic band. Burn is one of their best albums. Machine Head, classic. Despite the overrated Smoke on the Water. But I still love that album, as it was quite an inspiration for me on the guitar, especially for tracks like Lazy, Maybe I'm a Leo, and Deep Purple in Rock. That's another fantastic album. Fireball, Machine Head, and Who Do You Think You Are my favourite albums from Deep Purple. I actually have Who Do You Think You Are on vinyl, and a lot of the people and critics had been quite negative on that album, which is, a bit of a shame, because I think as a follow-up, I think it's really good. Very enjoyable stuff. Woman from Tokyo is a classic. Yes, there are a few weaknesses, but it's never been that bad of an album for me. If I can find it, actually. God, these habits of buying so many records. Here it is. Yeah, Who Do You Think You Are? And this is first press. This contains a gatefold, which is a lot of these critics, quotes, and reviews from Deep Purple's time on tour, and other stuff, and I'll show you the record. Since I believe this is a UK original, I've only played this once, but it plays very nice. Let me show you the right way. There you go. So, it's a very good album, but I think one of these songs does have very cheesy lyrics from Gillan, and some of the stuff is not as strong, but it's not really weak that some people call it as that. There are later Purple albums that some people say that it's, one of their worst, which I'll have to dive into because I haven't heard all of their albums. The records that I've heard from these guys are Fireball, Machine Head, Deep Purple in Rock, this, Burn, and Now What? Now What from 2013. So I'll have to come back to Deep Purple because it's been far too long. Anyway, there's 4 people coming in right now. Spread whatever you want to spread in terms of just, some more positive messages or interactions with me on music. Just the same stuff that I always say. I think this stream is going really nicely already. So much quicker than the first one. It's gone more than 20 minutes into the stream. So I have no idea how long this is going to go on for, as I said, from the very small announcement video that I just did. I should have made that video like yesterday, but I didn't realize that the next day, which would be today, is a Monday. It's almost the end of March, and I think with these long amounts of weeks on complete isolation, I think this whole staying at home thing is going to whiz by. The more we do stuff, the more we do stuff that makes us happy, and to really connect with a lot of people through social media. So that's another thing that we have to always do, is to keep each other in contact. FaceTime them, Skype them, Facebook video calling them, message them, also on Instagram, etc. I have an Instagram account, and I should have made a video about it, but I didn't, which I will tell you it right now. My Instagram account is called GB Music Buff. You can find me on there and follow me. I have posted quite a lot since I decided to join into that website randomly, make an account since June from 2018. Be Mindful and Wise again. I think that 90125 from Yes is an underrated album. It's no Fragile, Close to the Edge, or Relayer, but it's still a decent Yes album. Actually, 90125 is one of their best albums. I was thoroughly surprised by how very good it was. I know Owner of a Lonely Heart is very commercial, but it is catchy. Leave It is an excellent track, and most of the other ones, they are just as great. Fun stuff. But the one Yes album that I had played all the way through tons of times, as I've talked about it before, was Tales from Topographic Oceans, and I will get that record. See if it's here. Here it is. Yes, so Tales from Topographic Oceans is very controversial still, and I totally understand why some Yes fans really don't like this. But this one was a long process. I didn't dislike it when I had first bought it, but I bought it because of it being Yes, and this just has one of my favorite album covers of all time. Um, but when I was diving back into Yes, the whole journey of listening to this album on repeat has been very enjoyable to complete loving feelings about this album. I think there are a lot of things going on that needs tons of repeats to get them memorized, and the whole thing from the lyricism based on the Paramahansa Yoganda novel from him called Autobiography of a Yogi is a big thing for John Anderson to make up these kinds of lyrics on 4 different themes. This album is very huge in investigation. I love this album. Now, um, I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing my discography reviews on the Yes discography because I've got the Rolling Stones to do. I'm more than halfway through their albums and got many, many more to review. Requested albums. What's up, Tyler? Hope you're doing all right. And everybody else with their friends and families. I had to play this again. X Factor from Iron Maiden. So this is a remaster that I really do love. It's a great, great remaster. I know that some people would shit on this album, but I think when it comes to music that needs to be heard in a mind that is your own than thinking about anybody else's opinions, you will have to say what you truly think about any album. And for fans of Maiden to say that this is garbage or just not very good, I think they should really focus on this album better. I'm not taking that as an offensive way, but if people keep trying and if they still don't like this, that is not a big problem. So I'm talking about these elitists of the Blaze Bayley era. Yet Virtual 11, to me, is really enjoyable, but it's nowhere near in the top 10. Since that I regarded No Prayer as their weakest album, I think Maiden still have made such a legendary discography. And I don't think No Prayer, by the way, is not one of the worst albums ever, but it's just really below average, as I said from my review. But I think with the X Factor, I think it is incredibly overlooked that people should really give albums like this a lot more chances. So I'll have to leave it at that because I don't want to, go into um, territories of people being very judgmental and close-minded and have a war with those kinds of people. Judgmentalism is never ever for me. If they want to be judgmental to me, they can fuck right off. Be mindful and wise. Pantera's Reinventing the Steel turned 20 years old 2 days ago. I think it's underrated. It's got so many good songs like Death Rattle, Revolution Is My Name, You've Got to Belong It to Hellbound. I haven't actually bought that album. I've never played it all the way through, but Revolution is it's a very very good song. Revolution is my name. Tyler, I was in the middle of listening to Oceanic by Isis for the first time. Great. I wish I could say more because I haven't listened to Isis properly, but I have heard the name. The X Factor is quite underrated. I never understood the hate that it got. Exactly. Even when some people say that Forbidden by Black Sabbath was a very bad album, but I do like that record. It has its moments of some great stuff, but it was not one of those albums that I play so often when it comes to Black Sabbath. But the Tony Martin era is really overlooked. So the Tony Martin era is to me much better than the Born Again, um, Ian Gillan, Black Sabbath era. No disrespect to Sabbath fans that love the Born Again album and that period, but I just never really cared for that era. That's just my opinion, um, and I like to keep it that way. I think Born Again does have a few very good tracks, but the production ruins it. Same with the lyrics and the cover art. I know some people love it. Cool. Um, Reinventing the Steel is the only Pantera album I haven't heard besides the glam albums. I had not heard the glam albums before they became really popular, mate. Hey, Jordan! What's up, man? Greg, have you ever thought about growing a beard? You would look like a young Dave Mustaine. I have actually made videos where I have a bit of a beard, but Dave Mustaine, no, I do not think that I would look like Mustaine. And I am glad that he is cancer free. Speaking of Megadeth, I need to come back to that band and review their albums from Euthanasia to the latest stuff. I don't want to re-review Super Collider because I reviewed it when it came out, and the album is just okay. It's not that bad. Be Mindful and Wise, Tear, Cross Purposes, and Headless Cross are great albums from the Tony Martin period of Sabbath. I think Headless Cross is very good, but my personal favourite is The Eternal Idol. For me, The Eternal Idol brings back some memories, especially the track of The Shining, which I love. Love that song. When I was um, in that phase of listening to metal music, when I was doing, some of these projects on the computer that I had to do during secondary school times, and hearing tracks from that album and also from Cross Purposes, and I never knew that it was the Tony Martin era at the time. But I think Cross Purposes is one of the better ones, and Tia is brilliant, brilliant album. Forbidden, as I said, it's a good album that I do enjoy. Well, I think that it does have very weak production, and the songs can be very flat in just um, the feeling that it tries too hard to have some punch and oomph, Um, Tyler, will you be doing a ranking of Megadeth albums once you finish their discography? Yes, I will be doing that. I started reviewing Megadeth's albums since 2012, and I had not done that. It's almost a decade, so I'm awfully lacking at that. And I have to do the Megadeth discography to go through the rest of their albums that I need to review as much as I can. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Continue the Stones discography, Megadeth, and also Cryptopsy. because they haven't made a lot of albums, requested albums, etc. But the things that I'll have to really do are just the reviews on the discographies of those two bands. Shizazel, I agree with your opinion on the X Factor, because for me, it is one of their greatest albums. Some people say the production takes away from the songs, which I do kind of understand, but to me, it is great. The production really grew on me on that record. It is the same studio that Maiden had done No Prayer before, and of course with Virtual 11, the follow up. The production grew on me. It's not that bad. I do love the guitar tone though. So I think the X Factor just deserves some more love, as I said earlier. Be Mindful and Wise, again, Euthanasia is quite a good Megadeth album. I really like Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, Family Tree, and The Blood of Heroes the most. Addicted to Chaos is underrated. I'll have to revisit Euthanasia. And here's the thing that I had never done that I decided to do. I think since around the time that I did my Corey Feldman Angelic to the Core review, I since then decided to make notes on what I want to say and to be in a descriptive way on giving out better and fresh opinions on this or that. Apologies for the stutter there. It's really annoying. But I think the notes taking on doing these opinions on the artwork, to a lot of the tracks, to info behind the albums that I review really helps. And especially that I love doing these audio commentaries on albums lately. So my latest album review that I've done was on Bitches Brew from Miles Davis. And like I said, if you haven't seen that review, give it a like and share your comments on that album. So that is a thing that I really like to continue doing. Note taking on stuff that needs to be said, and to make my reviews expand into a better way of describing this or that on a band's music and an album, etc. I am really pleased that it's going really well. Almost 40 minutes into the stream, and let's just see if we can carry on for longer than an hour. So the last one was from 2 hours, and let's hope that we can do it again on this stream. Thank you very much so far, guys, for your comments. Keep them coming. Just looking at the time, it is 10 to 9 in the evening. I will be doing some more of the videos on my AC Victor camera, because I had made a lot of promises that I rarely keep, or just never really, on stop making videos with this webcam. But I think I'll just use this webcam only for live streaming, because I have no idea how to connect this little camera to my laptop to do live streams, because this obviously has much better audio and picture quality. If I can't find a way of doing it with that little camera, then I'll have to do it on this webcam. What are you going to do when the coronavirus thing ends? Continue my my work with the band that I'm in to do the touring the various gigs that have been booked before they had to be cancelled. Work harder than ever. I mean, I'm still working very, very well on my role in the band. So I was originally going to make a video about the bands that I would have liked to talk about, but since this virus thing struck for a long while now, I just don't think it was, acceptable or just in the right mood of me to make a video. But the band's going really well. That's all I would like to say so far until I would make a video. Three likes so far, 5 viewers. I don't feel pressured at all because, if I feel pressured, I would just, keep feeling tense and begging for people to watch the stream. But I am not going to be at that feeling at all because it'll just make the experience uncomfortable. And since you guys are here making this stream possible with my involvement, it just makes it so comfortable and fun. And I thank you all for that have tuned in. Pinos, I'm not going to mispronounce the surname. Where are you from, mate? Rock on. Thank you. I am from the UK. United Kingdom. If you got anything more to add to that, or anything at all, ask me. Ask me anything. So, I am still in an uplifting mood that I will be making much more videos than ever because I've made a lot throughout this month, and it's almost April. March is so far for me the most consistent for me for making videos. So I was originally, gonna make less and less, but now that since the virus is here, I don't want to forget you guys and make my time to myself because I like to keep you guys posted and entertained on the music style of videos that I love to share. I know I say the same things a lot, but it is just the truth, basically. Shazazzle, what's your favourite Death album? My favourite Death album is The Sound of Perseverance. And I had done my reviews on their discography back when my reviewing style wasn't, like the best. And I did a top 5 in the discography. I know that they've made more albums, but The Sound of Perseverance brings back the most nostalgia-based feeling, and it's the one that I play the most. Symbolic is a very close second. That's another stellar album. I do have this really bad CD packaging release of this album from 2007 through these guys, and the packaging is just really boring. Does contain second disc, which is a DVD live in Codbus 1998, but you don't see anything on the inside at all. It's just blank piece of paper and very boring looking design. I need to get a better edition of this because there's like a better digipack forms of this album. I haven't got the rest yet, but in terms of buying their albums on vinyl, I will definitely do that. It just depends on the cost, really, because some metal albums are not cheap on vinyl, because most of it I have are on CD, but I have a few on vinyl. What do you... Life Goes On comes in again. What do you think of Genesis Reunite? I was really surprised, and I am going to see Genesis on my 26th. Hopefully, if the virus is out for good. And like I said earlier, before you guys came in, I was obsessed listening to a lot of the Genesis albums. I was growing into the Lamb much, much better and loving Foxtrot more. Played a lot of the Peter Gabriel period of Genesis, and I've played some stuff from the Phil Collins era. I understand that some people are not interested to see Genesis because these ticket prices are outrageous, to comments of the whole thing saying that it's Genesis without Peter Gabriel and with just three of the band, and have Phil's son to play the drums for him, along with the guitarist that played with Phil on the days when he went solo. But it's going to be my first time seeing Genesis, and if I want to see them, I want to see them. So I am looking forward to it. That is, if it's going to turn out very greatly. Hope I will see them. I haven't played a lot of Genesis at the time before they had announced the reuniting, because I was more obsessed with Pink Floyd and King Crimson. They are my big favourite progressive rock bands of all time. Love Yes more, and I actually was diving into Gentle Giant, and I couldn't believe how great they are sounding from their albums. So I'm going to be buying albums from those guys too. Have you ever listened to Calling All Stations? No, but I am going to buy it because a lot of the people had disregarded the album very negatively because it's not Phil Collins, and basically the only members that made the album in terms of just the original members are Tony Banks and Michael Rutherford, and Genesis at that point have been receiving a lot of disliking, negativity and criticisms. But I think it's just going to be like when Sabbath just don't really care for the Tony Martin Black Sabbath era. I'll have to give it a go. But I have a bit of a predicament that it may be better, possibly, than the We Can't Dance album. I don't know. That is something that is not taken very seriously for now, but I'm going to check it out and see if it's bad as many people say that it is. So for Genesis, for Peter Gabriel, I always think that's the greatest era from the band. I need to get into From Genesis to Revelation now that a YouTuber has uploaded the full album of it. So I'm going to be playing that. I have heard most of their albums. Trespass is really good. Nursery Crime is better. Excellent album. Foxtrot, love that album. My favourite, Selling England by the Pound. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, near perfection. A Trick of the Tail, same thing. It's an excellent album to follow up after the departure from Peter. Wind and Wuthering, very good. And then there were three, again, that one is like underrated for some fans, but I quite liked it. Duke is very good. Abacab, for now, is my least... Actually, no. Abacab, I think it's above average, but my least favourite for now is Invisible Touch. But I'll have to listen to the rest of their discography and, maybe share a bigger opinion on their discography. Be Mindful and Wise. Calling All Stations is Genesis' most maligned album. It is to Genesis as Summer in Paris is to the Beach Boys. Tyler, again, I really like Supper's Ready from Foxtrot. If the cinema show had not been written, Supper's Ready would have been my favourite Genesis song of all time. The cinema show is my favourite Genesis track ever. I love everything about it. Supper's Ready, the highlight from Foxtrot. They have made so many tracks that I absolutely love. I Know What I Like, In Your Wardrobe, to Get 'Em Out by Friday, The Return of the Giant Hogweed, The Carpet Crawlers, to The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Some of the Phil Collins era Genesis is great too. But Supper's Ready, love it very much. A flower? Oh, I love that section from Supper's Ready. That's my favourite. How long is this going to be going on for? Okay, so we are more than 50 minutes into the stream. And like I said, let's hope that we can make this stream, surpass the 2-hour mark. Share some more stuff you want to say, and put some more banter into this, like I did with a flower a few seconds ago. I don't really know what I'm going to be playing next. After I will be playing Tutu from Miles Davis and this Mahavishnu Orchestra album. I might play some Beatles because I subscribed to a YouTuber called Sea of Tranquility who's done so many videos, lots of rankings on various discographies, and he mentions that we need to listen to some uplifting music on when he ranks the Beatles discography, and I absolutely agree. The Beatles music is really one of those perfect bands that does count for some positivity and uplifting emotions that we need to grow back to the world. Thoughts on Peter Gabriel's solo albums? I'm a fan of Melt and Us. I love Peter Gabriel's solo material. I actually have some of his albums on vinyl. If I can take them out, remove these weights. Here it is. Here they are. I do have So on vinyl, fantastic. But I have got Scratch. Haven't played this one yet. I'm really happy to have this. My brother is a fan of Peter Gabriel as well, but the man himself really brings me some chills, um, like chills, goosebumps on my arms, to my back, etc., just to hear his voice. Because I remember hearing him sing on the music video to Sledgehammer, one of the most original music videos, and for me, the greatest animated video ever made. When I think of Peter Gabriel, Sledgehammer just pops into my head because I remember seeing that music video as a kid when I was addicted to Aardman and the whole Wallace and Gromit era. Uh, but Peter Gabriel is a legend. I absolutely adore the man. Here is Us. This is an original pressing on the Real World label, and I absolutely think this is my favourite Peter Gabriel album. I had played this not too long ago when I was listening to Genesis. This album is beautiful. It's very percussion driven. It's it's funky in places. It's personal, quite emotional on what Gabriel went through. Some of the greatest tracks he had ever made. Come Talk to Me, with Sinead O'Connor on backing vocals, and the other one, Blood of Eden. I adore that song too. Steam, very Sledgehammer based. Digging in the Dirt, chills. Secret World is wonderful. Love this production. One of my favourite double albums of all time. And I have Passion. This is an original. I still have not seen this film of The Last Temptation of Christ, though I am a big fan of Martin Scorsese's films. I have to watch this film, but if you haven't seen, you know, the whole feeling of listening to this album, you need to. You need to let this music give you an experience to see and hear. This is perfection. 10 out of 10 record. I had loved it right from the very start I started playing this album. And ever since then, I played it sometimes, much more. It's just that great. Love this record. I'll get to the comments in a few seconds, guys. Um, Shazazul again. What are your thoughts on Jomsviking by Amon Amarth? To me, it is one of my favourite albums of all time. I love Amon Amarth, but I have not played that album yet. But Amon Amarth, I had seen them live, and Carcass were the supporters, and Hell, I've missed Hell because I didn't get the chance. Well, I wasn't really familiar with those guys, but when Carcass with their support set, it is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Love the band live, and I was really lucky because, I mean, they are one of my favourite extreme metal bands of all time. But with Amon Amarth, great show. My favourite albums from them are With Odin on Our Side and Twilight of the Thunder God. Those two are my favourite Amon Amarth albums, but I'll have to dive into that record that you've mentioned. Sledgehammer, Big Time, Games Without Frontiers, Lead a Normal Life, Steam, and Shock the Monkey are some of my favourite Peter tracks. That's just how incredible and unique Peter Gabriel is as a solo artist. Panels again. Can you downpick fast on guitar? I'm not really a metal guitar player, but I can downpick pretty decently. But I'm not going to be, taking out my guitar and play because I'm just at the mood of chilling, and when I play guitar, it has to do like if I'm really in the mood. I played guitar earlier today, and jamming out, but for this time, I feel like just to hang out. For me to play the guitar, it's really on the feeling of being in a really open, hardworking environment. Anyway, we have just gone past the 1 hour mark. Let's do another hour, guys. So please tell me, by the way, if the whole thing's going really well without any issues from the connection, etc. As I always repeat myself sometimes occasionally. So it is it is a brilliant experience to discover bands, listening to them, and to be completely um, connected and transform your taste into something very open. I still love listening to metal music, but ever since that I had been collecting records for a long time and to be inspired by a lot of people, I realized that the taste of music has become very open and expanding, and it'll just stay growing. The tastes never end, as many people think that you only have to have this or that taste. You can have a taste of anything that you like to hear and listen to. You can like as many artists and records as you like. The amount of stuff is just unlimited. You can like what you like, and that is a beautiful thing about being a fanatic of music. My favorite Death album is Spiritual Healing, but it's hard to choose because they had a flawless discography. Exactly. Um, I think Spiritual Healing is my least favorite, actually, but it is very good. I'm more of a person that likes the previous two bit better, but Spiritual Healing is an excellent album still. But I think the later stuff, like I mentioned about the Sound of Perseverance and Symbolic, are more of the higher favorites for me. Individual Thought Patterns is really good as well. To Human, we could really go on about one band, or two more bands, or whenever you want to share many more bands. But I think the whole purpose of our conversations is to, not only to ask me anything, which I love to see still, but we can ask each other what can we say and spread our positivity around. I mean, you can ask yourselves in the comments to another person that's been commenting, and have me involved as well. Just looking at Facebook for a bit. Don't mean to be, rude, because I'm just, looking at myself on the screen on my laptop instead of sometimes looking at the webcam. But I'm just been looking at the comments mostly. I'm really pleased that here I am repeating myself again. I am really pleased that this stream's working out very, very well. And it's all thanks to you lot. Thank you very much for liking the stream with 3 likes, and for a few people to come on by. Keep them coming. Let's see what we can talk about next. In terms of just subgenres to records or anything to do with myself, let's just all be in an open spirit. Shizazo, what is one of the worst albums y'all have heard? I think I've made a video on the top 10 worst albums of all time, but I'm going to spoil it a little bit here. But my second pick was Lou Reed's Metal Machine Music, but I have made a video why I ended up loving it. You can't really see it that well over there, but I have the original, very rare vinyl of it, and that's been really despised, and that was one of the worst records ever. But I think one of the worst albums I've ever heard, that I respect now, was Lulu from Lou Reed and Metallica. Another one that I really don't like, some of Immure's albums. Just my opinion. I know some friends of mine are fans of that band, and I'm not going to trash them for it. But I think one of the worst albums that I simply think is just, atrocious and horrible garbage was Temper Temper from Bullet for My Valentine. Yet I alone used to be a big fan of the band, but they just lost me with that album. Really don't like it. I could really go on, but you know, sometimes you just have to have that feeling that you get your own words out. It can be the same way for the positivity as well, but positivity is mostly what we all need nowadays. What do you think of Godflesh and Jesu? I have heard the names of those bands, but I've not played their music. Um, he also says one of the worst albums I've heard is Catharsis by Machine Head, and I thought Supercharger was bad. I think Supercharger, it was a record that is very weird to me because there are tracks on the record that I do like, but there is quite moments of filler and not really good lyricism. Catharsis, though, I don't think it was that bad. I used to do a live stream where I said my first thoughts and reactions whilst listening to the album, and I had to take it down, unfortunately, because of the copyright strike that I got from Nuclear Blast. I had to take it down, and I had made an apology video for it. Catharsis, I think, was really disappointing. There are tracks that I thought were brilliant, but it's just all nothing but mostly very egotistical, self negative, very um, repetitive usage of these lyrics that are just one of the most generic that Rob had been writing, and some of the songs too that I just do not really like at all. So I think Catharsis is not one of the worst albums, but for me it's one of the biggest downfalls in metal music, because I'm still a big fan of Machine Head, and now with their new lineup happened, and their tours on celebrating 25 years of Burn My Eyes, I don't know where the band's going to go. I still have their albums, but I actually didn't buy Supercharger. Um, Catharsis, I'll have to pass on buying that one. Yes, as I said, that I'm a big fan of Machine Head, but even if you are a big fan of a band that makes an album that you are either a fan of or don't like, you don't have to be, a completionist. I mean, people can be completionists to buy albums just to complete discographies. I've done that with um, Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. I don't know if I should buy Catharsis to complete the collection, but I don't know. It's up to me. So 6 Feet Under band sucks. I think 6 Feet Under was a guilty pleasure of mine when I was younger, but the more I think about it now, I think 6 Feet Under, Chris Barnes is just not very good. Not a very good vocalist. It just lost that oomph, that very big, ravenous tone on his growls and screams. Um, and I just think that they are just one of those bands that I have never really cared for. So, I mean, there are some people that say that 6 Feet Under are a guilty pleasure band, which I understand because when I was younger, there are tracks from them that I did like, but I have not owned any of their albums in the collection, so that's all. I haven't played a lot of metal albums for some time, but the last time I can remember, the last time I played albums in terms of just metal entirely, one of them being Sabotage by Black Sabbath, and then many weeks later I played um, early Napalm Death albums and Heartwork from Carcass. So I need to really get that going on collecting albums, metal records on vinyl, because a lot of the collection that I have right now are mostly from rock to jazz, experimental, progressive rock, shoegaze, um, psychedelic, blues, uh, classic rock, etc. But yeah, I'll have to do a collection of music that I own from any genre. Like I'm going to be doing maybe a collection video on the krautrock collection because that's one of my favorite genres of all time, and I would love to share what I've got so far in the genre's history. But for metal albums on vinyl, that is one thing that I had been lacking. Tyler, I'm not really big into metal like I used to once I started getting into more genres, but I still like a lot of metal bands. Be Mindful and Wise, are you looking forward to Trivium's new album, What the Dead Men Say? I am indeed. I have The Sin and the Sentence on CD. Um, it's pretty crazy that the album came out. Uh, what was the year? Um, Hang on a minute, guys. I don't know. Say 2017 or 18, and now they're releasing a new album this year. So it's been a good few years since the last album. Ascendancy turned um, into another anniversary of this album not too long ago. 15 years old, which is, for me, and for nostalgia reasons, my favourite Trivium album. A lot of fans will say that Shogun is the best one, but I think Ascendancy um, is, for me, their best. It had so many great hooks to the riffs, and the vocals were powerful, and the talents from this band at their younger ages were extremely high, and just phenomenal to me that Matt Heafy, when he made this album before he became an adult, you know, just really crazy. Haven't played this album for a long time, and this album cover is one of my all-time favorites. It just brings back that time when I used to initially draw the album cover of this when I was really young, about 12 years old, I think, around the time that The Crusade came out, I think. I've got most of Trivium's albums on CD, and getting The Crusade pretty soon. Ascendancy is a great album. The Crusade was not as strong as Ascendancy, but The Crusade is still a really good album. I think Entrance of the Conflagration is one of my big favourite Trivium tracks. And also, I think that some of the later albums are better than The Crusade, but I cite that Trivium is a band that was never really a guilty pleasure, because I took my obsession with them that seriously. Ever since that I was into music videos from Rain to Paul Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr, Entrance of the Conflagration to Down from the Sky, and various tracks from their albums. So Trivium was a band that I loved back in the day, and I still do support Trivium for a long time. But for me, my least favourite from them, when I done a review on this album, I'm not a fan of Silence in the Snow. I think it's really above average. I think it just has some of their weakest moments of originality, and to me, it's just a good album, but not as good as the albums previously. The Sin and the Sentence is a way stronger record than the Silence in the Snow record, and that's just my own words. Right, so we are almost an hour and 20 minutes in, so I'm going to wrap this up in 40 minutes. So I'm still feeling in the mood to continue playing the Live at the Nice Festival record from the Tutu Deluxe Edition. So I played the first half of that live record, and I will be playing the rest as soon as I will finish this stream. So it feels brilliant. I love music. I love music very, very much, and I still feel so positive to this day. Even when this coronavirus is still happening, you know, it doesn't hurt whatsoever to really interact and share anything that you love to people. Just going to check if the stream's going on nicely on my phone. I know I can see everything very nicely on the live streaming section, but I think that it's also important to check if it works very well on your mobile. So, have you got anything more to add to what I'm saying, or you could say anything new? I've just been repeating myself way too much again, which is a habit that I need to cut that out. So, oh, I should have said this way earlier on, but today is Richard's birthday. Richard Metal Fan, now 26. Happy birthday, mate. I've sent his regards on Facebook, but I just decided to give him a quick shout out. Being a long time subscriber and friend of mine. So I don't know if he is going to come to the stream and comment. Well, he's going to do a birthday live stream on his Facebook. Maybe later on. I'll have to check. I think he did say that actually. Shazazzle again. What are your thoughts on Sabaton? I think Sabaton are very good sounding. I know they've supported Blaze Bailey, who I love, but I do like the sound of Sabaton's music, and I have heard that their frontman never really warms up his vocals at all, which is pretty crazy because I think he sounds very good and fitting into the kind of music that Sabaton had been making, that kind of music in their repertoire. But I do like the sound of those guys. Just messaged Richard if he wants to join to the stream. If he can't, that's all right. And he's having pizza. Yeah, I should have actually turned off the Facebook sound. Hope that isn't going to be, too loud for you guys at all. Anyway, got anything else to share? What have you been listening to, guys? What have you been doing during the isolation? And I'm looking forward to see what have you been up to. To me, my favourite album by them is Heroes. I haven't heard a lot of Sabaton's music, but I haven't actually played any of their albums in full, so I have to dive into Sabaton properly. So another record that I have been telling myself to play that I didn't earlier on today is a record from one of my favourite shoegaze bands of all time, and that is Slowdive. This is a beautiful, soft, gentle, really out there classic. Shoegaze is another favourite genre that I love. This is a remaster on Music on Vinyl and 180 gram. This is a remaster from 2011. So if you want to get into shoegaze, obviously the number one band that people would say it's My Bloody Valentine. My Bloody Valentine is, for me, my favourite band in the shoegaze genre, but I also really like Ride a lot as well. Their first two albums, fantastic. But Slowdive with this record is an important piece of art in the genre alone. I'm just going to show you the record. And I love how very well packaged these records that I've bought from this company have been. Protecting the records very, very well. So it comes with a picture of the band, the track listing and information, and uh, just a standard black vinyl. This record is just incredible. That is hang on, side one, yeah, got it right. And side two with the picture of the band. So, shoegaze, for people that don't know, is a genre that incorporates gentle vocals and soft melodies, but it depends on what kind of type of music that you listen to in the genre, because a lot of it is pretty much lots of these effects involving delays, fuzz, distortion, reverb, and it's a very inventive genre, and it can be split in various ways. Some shoegaze music can incorporate some dance beats or beats that are very rock driven, but with clean guitars or fuzzed out, noisy guitars. It is a very interesting genre that some people cannot sometimes take it very seriously and not um, understand what it is, which is totally fine, because there are some records and bands that I love that can be um, uncompromising and difficult for some people's tastes. But when it comes to shoegaze, I think some people would tolerate the genre so much more than um, the avant-garde to the um, very out there um, difficult music, concrete, or the challenging records, say like a Captain Beefheart album. Anyway, highly recommend this album, shoegaze masterpiece. Slowdive's Souvlaki, just one of my top 10 in the shoegaze genre. Well, this is really the top 5 actually. I need to go into many more albums in the genre. I've heard that a band like Catherine Wheel had made a few albums that are similar to the kind of shoegaze genre, but My Bloody Valentine have always been the best in the genre, in my opinion. Tyler, again, I know Brave Murder Day by Catatonia is influenced by shoegaze. Come to think of it, yes, you did mention Catatonia to me before. I think on the last live stream, but I need to I need to check them out properly, and I have to still look at the comments from you guys on the last live stream on recommending the bands that you had once said and requested for me to do that I still haven't done that. So that's how much of a hypocrite that I am. Oh dear, oh dear. But I promise you guys, I will be doing that. Catatonia, Sabaton, um, and various other bands that I have to do my listening experiences for. Also, I have got a rateyourmusic.com account. For those of you that wants to see my account, it is called Sergeant Pepper's Music Buff. Each word has got the capitals, so it's all in one random word. Well, not really a word, but it's just random words connected together. You can see the ratings on hundreds of albums that I've rated, from half a star to 5 stars, and some movies. But I was just there for the music, and I've listened to more than 1,000 albums, and I've been a member on that website since 2015, and I had not mentioned about it a lot. So I just give you like a quick plug. So, like I did on my mentions on my Instagram account. So Instagram, GB Music Buff, and for Rate Your Music, it's Sergeant Pepper's Music Buff. Okay, so half an hour left until this live stream, and I'm going to continue on listening to the records, and I think 10 o'clock is really acceptable to finish this because it's getting pretty late now. Um, so I've had a really good day, playing guitar, listening to records that I've talked about earlier on, and now to have a really good time to interact with you guys. So I will be returning to do these live streams and hopefully get some more different faces along the way. But I think when it comes to the live streams that I am going to be doing in the future on the channel, it'll have to be, when the time's right for me, because if I do it every day, it's just going to be, the same thing. I mean, I love doing this, but I feel like that I want to give a lot more space um, to do the next live stream, and to get some more of these different faces to join and interact with ourselves more and more. But I am really happy that you guys are still here to subscribe to the channel and like the videos, to comment and share anything that you want to say in the comments, and even to say anything on these live streams. It means a lot. It's one of the things that I always loved doing, since that I've been a music fanatic for a very long time, and you guys had continued my obsession with the amount of positivity that it brings me to feel even more um, consistent and highly interactive with the people that would become my friends, not just subscribers, but actual people. And it's it's still brilliant to me that I'm still doing this. So I thank you all very much for that. And with that being said, I am going to keep doing these live streams as not too soon, but um, as mostly as I can, if I would like to do some more of these. And I will be doing them because it's a brilliant experience. It was something new that I had not done at all for ages, but since it has been going very, very well and strongly, it just makes me want to do more. Anyway, I'm gonna, wrap that up. I just like to, be sometimes very honest and to, sometimes feel very expressive on what I want to say, and feel interactive, to um, feel involved with you guys, and to be very familiar with each other on what we are saying and to talk about. And Tyler just followed me on Instagram, and actually, he decided to um, create his first Instagram account. Um, I don't know how long, but I don't know if he actually did it today, or if his account has been made earlier on, like a week ago or so. But I'll follow him back. Thank you very much, Tyler. Shazazul, have you heard of um, Invicta? I have not. I haven't heard of that band, but I would like to know what type of music are they? Are they one of those extreme metal bands, um, or are they just something different to the high intensity of extreme metal music? I've made it a few months ago, okay, but I didn't have the phone app until today. Okay, that's cool. And also, you can message anybody on Instagram using your PC or your laptop, because it used to be only for the mobile, but I guess you can do it on your own PC and laptop now. I maybe they've updated it. I couldn't upload on PC for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know why it turned out like that, because I think, well, most Instagram users use their phones to post and share shit. So, but once again, this is a great stream. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the turnout, as I always repeat myself a lot. But I am very happy with the interactions and the comments that you guys have been sending in, and it means a lot. Um, Be Mindful and Wise. Thoughts on the band Decapitated. I've just listened to their album Annihility yesterday, and it's a great tech death album. I really like Decapitated, but my favourite from them so far is Winds of Creation, one of the best extreme metal debuts. I haven't got any of their stuff on vinyl or CD. I actually don't know how much their albums are worth for on vinyl, which I'll have to check. But I think Decapitated are one of the best metal bands. Shazazel again. They are a melodic death metal band. They have an EP worth listening to and an album that is pretty good. I'll have to dive into them then, man. But thank you for the recommendation, Shazazel. Okay, so we're close to 20 minutes left into the stream. Ask as many things as you want. Sorry, guys, I was just going through some of the Instagram on the phone. It's been on charge for a long time, 85%. So I want to see what you guys have been listening to. and what you've been up to, as I talked about that earlier on, because I would like to um, hopefully see what amount of stuff that you've been doing to keep yourselves safe from the isolation and the chaos that's been going around for. Nile is another great tech death band. Annihilation of the Wicked is a masterpiece. Black Seeds of Vengeance in their Darkened Shrines and Ithifalik, which I own, are good too. Love Nile. They are one of my first experiences, actually, of seeing Sacrifice unto Sebek when I was really young, and I had never come across a band this extreme in brutality before. Um, but I love Annihilation of the Wicked, which is one of my favourite albums of all time. Excuse me. Now that I've sneezed, I have to blow my nose and wash my hands. um, Obviously, I'm not going to get that sodding virus. Anyway, Nile. Love the band. Ithifalik is fantastic. Great album. But I still do not like At the Gates of Sethu that much. It's not because of the album. There are some tracks on there that I do enjoy, but what ruins it was the production and the mixing, which is one of the worst that I've ever heard. Totally destroys the focused experience of listening to that album. So, other than that, they are one of my favourite bands, and I need to buy their discography, really. Hey, Craig, hey man, how's things with you? Shizazel, I have been trying to listen to Sabaton's whole discography and Amon Amarth's as well. Amon Amarth's discography is fantastic. Besides with Odin on Our Side and Twilight of the Thunder God, I had also played their album from 2013. I think it's called Deceiver of the Gods. I could be wrong. I'll have to look it up. But I have played that album all the way through when it came out. And I thought it was really good. But after that, I hadn't really gone back. Because I had seen Amon Amarth on that tour in promotion of that album. I think it's called Deceiver of the Gods. Um, I'll have to look it up. But they are just an amazing, amazing band. Amon Amarth. Just so energetic and exciting. Yeah, Deceiver of the Gods. I was right all along. um, excuse me. What do you think about new album Sepultura Quadra? We heard they. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. We had they in the Kazakhstan. We had them. Okay, we had them in Kazakhstan in the last year with the tour Machine Messiah. I haven't heard their new album yet, man. But I would like to give the Derek Green period of Sepultura a go. I have Dante 21 on CD. I really like it a lot. I mentioned this before and I'll say it again. Now, when I was younger, I did not care for that era after the departure from Max Cavalera. Pardon me. But the more I think about it, the more I've become more open-minded. I would like to get back into the band because their aggression is still there. But I wasn't keen on just the sound of the vocals from Derek's. It's not because of him being very different, but it was just something that doesn't sound very similar. But now that I wanted to give Sepultura another chance, I'm going to dive back into the band and play their later stuff. But I'm not a fan of Against and um, the album after after Against. I'll have to find out again. But I love the Max Cavalera period from the band. Oh yeah, the other album that I'm not a fan of is Nation. That was it. Those two albums to me are not very good. I thought they were just so-so, but a bit bland. Well, I have all of the Sepultura albums from the Cavalera era. I actually pulled out Beneath the Remains and Roots, but I have the rest on CD over there because I've been piling so many CDs over there that are just, all over the mess, all over the place from these CD shelves next to me that are just completely full. I also have Morbid Visions as well, which I think it was a good debut, but I thought Schizophrenia was better. Chaos AD will always stand out by me as Sepultura's finest, besides Arise and Roots, Beneath the Remains. Dancer 21 is excellent. How do you think the band One Way Mirror not playing no more? We haven't heard anything from One Way Mirror for ages. I have their self-titled album on CD, and I really liked Destructive by Nature with my very brief review on that album. But I think One Way Mirror is very underrated. Now that I had been just thinking of the band name right now, I really liked their debut album, bit better, but I don't know. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they've been doing actually. They don't seem to have their own Wikipedia page. But if they're not playing no more, if they've disbanded, that's a bit of a shame. But I haven't really heard anything from them. However, this reminds me now, their album after the second album, Capture, I'm not a fan of that album. I thought it was really disappointing. I thought some of the songs were really bland, and that cover that was on the album, I just thought was very poor. But the first album's the best. So One Way Mirror. Now that you've mentioned it, I have to come back to the band. Very overlooked, I think. Anyway, so we're close to 10 minutes until the stream ends. You wasn't on the show Slipknot. I don't understand what you mean. You'll have to correct that. I'm afraid for me to understand. You wasn't on the show Slipknot. I think I think if you would explain it better, the more I will understand. Excuse me. Sorry, my English is not so perfectly. That's no problem, man. Um, but I think to answer your question, I I had seen Slipknot live earlier this year, um, from 2020 when Behemoth supported them. I've done a concert review on that show. Shizazel, um, do you think that Cannibal Corpse will release an album this year? Because I've noticed a handful of people are saying that they are, but I'm thinking that they might when the coronavirus dies down. I don't know if I had actually found out that they are releasing a new album. I'll have to find out because I think that Deftones had finished making a new album, but I had not seen the um, I had not seen any news about this new Cannibal Corpse album. Again, like some bands, it has been a few years since we've last heard anything new from them. Um, but if they are releasing a new album, I would like to get it. But I haven't got a lot of their stuff on CD either. So that's one thing that I have to do is to um, build and expand some more of the metal collection. But with the music taste being in various genres, it's not hard, but it's sometimes a feeling that I think about and I just don't do it. But the metal obsession that I have has not gone away really. Vomit the Soul with the grin emoji. Okay, I mean, were you on the live show Slipknot? And I just seen the message retracted. I don't understand why it's retracted. Okay, I mean, were you on the live show Slipknot? Did you mean that the new live stream, the new show that they've done a few days ago? I think it was a week ago actually. Again, some more random emojis from Vomit the Soul. Alright, so we're close to 5 minutes until we finish the stream. So thank you to a lot of the comments from Craig, Shizazel, Tyler, and Be Mindful and Wise. You guys are awesome. Keep these comments coming. Hopefully, we'll see a few more until I will close the stream off with a bang. Then, as I said, I will be back to be spinning some more records and finish off listening to some more of the music from the phenomenal Miles Davis. So, Craig, I think in terms of what you're trying to say, I think from what I just said, if I had seen that new brief show from Slipknot, I hadn't seen that all the way through, but I had seen their performance on Sainted. You know, with that brief show from from a few weeks ago or a week ago, really, in front of the fans. I had not seen all of that all the way through. Gotta go, dude. Thanks for the Instagram follow. No problem, mate. So you can message me anytime, and maybe we could vid chat if it works out for you. Um, but I think it'll be a nice feeling to, you know, to vid chat to you and um, interact even more, just like the live stream. Craig, again, did you? I mean, I think you say, did you listen to the last Korn album, The Nothing? No, I haven't. I haven't listened to The Nothing. To be honest, I have almost all of Korn's albums. I really did not like The Path of Totality at all. But the last Korn album that I've heard all the way through was The Paradigm Shift, The Serenity of Suffering, hadn't heard all of that yet. I need to buy that. And now The Nothing. But I have heard the singles from those two albums. I need to expand the Korn discography, except The Path of Totality. I really just hate that album. But I still am a fan of Korn. So, yeah. For being a fan on any bands, you don't have to just, love everything, because every band releases a record that that releases a great album or a good album or a bad album, etc. So, I love Korn, still one of my first favorite metal bands ever from my younger self, and I still support the band. Right, less than 5 minutes left. I could really do these live streams again, but like I said, I don't really want to keep going on to make it, like an everyday thing. I will be back to do another live stream if I feel like it, and I will actually make another post on the next one on the community section from my channel, and make a short video like I've done a few hours ago for this one. But this one is just as great. Keep these comments going, guys. Let's make some more brief conversations until we finish this. 5 viewers, 5 likes. Thank you very much for the guys that decide to click like on the stream. So, as I'm just looking through these comments now, it has been a really good time. A really good time and a lot of variety. Because that's what I like about talking to you guys, is to expand our conversations into talking about various topics onto music and anything that we can all relate to. Do you listen to something from POD band? Not really. I haven't listened to POD. Shizazzle, what is one of your favourite bands? My list is really just huge. If you have a look at rachelmusic.com, some of my favourite acts and bands are on there. Sgt. Pepper's Music Buff. But to really think about like an actual list of like a top 10 favourite bands of all time, it can be very difficult, because some of the bands that I love listening to the most are from different genres. But I would like to mention some, like obviously Slipknot, to Metallica, Korn, The Who, to the Beatles, Can, Kraftwerk, Tangerine Dream, King Crimson, Pink Floyd, the Mothers of Invention, the Rolling Stones, Black Sabbath. Looking through the collection, actually, to tons, Carcass, AC/DC, Megadeth, Machine Head, Led Zeppelin, solo artists like Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, Nick Drake, Brian Eno, John Lennon, Leonard Cohen, Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, David Bowie, etc. The list goes on. Hundreds, really. Alright, less than a minute until we will finish this off. As I always say, some of the same repetitive shit, which I need to stop. From Craig again, how do you think someone to watching your videos from Russia I don't mind anybody that is a subscriber or anybody at all that wants to come to the stream and, say and talk about anything. So I'm all open to anybody from any country to talk to me. Anyway, that is 2 hours. We are 2 hours into the stream. Thank you very much to you guys for sharing your appreciation and support for the channel and for clicking like on the live stream and for tuning in. I think I would like to do another stream with you once again, maybe next month or early May time. Can't believe it is almost April. But I think with this long process of the isolation thing, it's going to whiz by really fast. And once this virus is over, we'll just be, in a really positive and a nostalgic spirit to do things that we love to do. Anyway, I've always said a lot of things about the isolation, a lot in the stream, but take care of yourselves, wash your hands, and I hope that we will be back to do another brilliant stream like this in the future. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll keep you guys posted for more videos in the near future.